Well, happy Friday, everybody. We're here in Southern California in Orange County Market. My name is Mike Rains. I'm working with First Team Real Estate here in the Huntington Beach coastal community. And hey, I wanted to talk today about an idea that Donald Trump floated this last week having to do with capital gains tax. Now, it's no secret that in all over the United States, there's different housing markets, and in those housing markets, they don't all react the same way. So what happens here doesn't happen in Oklahoma, Texas, Minnesota. All of those things are different, and each market is different. So in my local market, we have a little bit more of an expensive market. It's a higher cost to get into a coastal property. In California in general, the property values have increased pretty dramatically, actually. And so since 1999, or I think it's right in that area, the capital gain structure for a single family house or a condo or a townhome or something like that that you've owned, they set up capital tax exclusions, and they were set up for 250,000 if you were a single person. So that means you could sell the house and gain up to 250,000, and it would be exempt from capital gains. And if you were married, that capital gains amount was 500,000, which was great back in 1999. But we've had significant capital improvement for property values. So people have been sitting on a huge pile of equity, so much so that some people that have been in their house for 30, 40, 50 years, some of the older population or somebody that's just been in an area that they've owned the property a long time and now all of a sudden they're sitting on $1 million, $2 million in equity, and they're kind of stuck. And so what that means is that if they were to sell that property, if they were a married couple, let's say, and they sold a property for $2 million, but they had paid $500,000 back in the day for it, they get a $500,000 exclusion as a married couple. And I'm just using round numbers, so 2 million, they paid 500,000, they get a $500,000 exclusion. That means that person would be paying capital gains on $1 million. And so, depending on somebody's capital gains tax rate, it could be 20%, let's say 25%. So that could be a 250,000 check that they would have to write to get out from underneath that house. And that means that they would have less money to go do something else with that, whether they want to downsize into a condo. Taking a $250,000 hit is pretty significant. So what people have been doing is they've just been staying put. They're like, hey, if that's the case, I'm going to stay in my house for, until I die. And my kids will get the house. And the funny thing is that the current tax law, if you're a kid that inherits a property from mom and dad, no matter how much equity, they could have $5 million equity in there, and the kid inherits it at the step up, a full step up in basis for their primary residence, and then they're able to sell that property with zero capital gains. And so what was floated was that on your primary residence that there would be no capital gains tax. And that's kind of a huge thing, because that would turn people that want to make a move, maybe you're an older couple and you want to downsize into something a little bit more manageable, or go from a house to a condo because the yard work's too much, or the upkeep of the house is too much, or frankly, you just don't want to go up and down those stairs any longer and you want to move to a single level or some kind of a condo or something that has an elevator or something like that. And so, but downsizing is not a possibility because you'd have to write a pretty big check to get outside of that house. And so, unfortunately, that 1999 rule, which although it's nice to have, and that might work in Oklahoma or New Mexico or something like that, that does not work on the bi-coastal areas like New York, California, that have had significant price appreciation. And in my area, if you wanted to buy a house down by the beach, you're paying $2 to $4 million for that property for a new one. But if you bought that 30 years ago for $350,000, now all of a sudden you're looking at a significant increase in your capital gains under the current tax law. But if they were to take that and move it out and get rid of it, then that person could then sell that property. By the way, it's good for the county, because if they bought it for $300,000 back in the day, they're paying about $4,500 a year in property taxes. And here in California, it would automatically be reassessed to the sale price unless they're using one of the exclusion if they're over 55. But think about it. If you're Orange County property, would you want them to be able to sell that property, and now you get, as a county, you get the property taxes now based at a $2 million or a $4 million or whatever the price is. All of a sudden you're jumping to $20,000 a year in property taxes that you get as a county. So it's good for everybody. I'm not suggesting that this is going to hurt anybody, but I also think that it's going to be good for many different people. So number one, we're talking about sellers that basically have decided, I'm just going to stay put till I die because I can't afford the capital gains tax. Now they're going to get to make that move, and guess what? When they go to buy that other property, that's a new transaction. Title person, realtors, maybe a lender if they're taking a reverse mortgage or some other type of mortgage to buy that property, and then they hire the painter, the contractors to do the flooring, and all of that. It just goes on and on. There's a lot of people that are associated with each real estate transaction, and because the inventory has been so low for us, the number of transactions are down. So guess what? The painter's business down. The carpet and flooring people's businesses are down. Home Depot's business is probably down because of people like not doing anything new, like remodeling to their house. And so everybody kind of wins with that. So that person gets to downsize. And somebody that's been waiting for a property to go up, that you're a younger family, and now you have more kids and you need bigger space. You started off with a 2-bedroom condo, but now you need a 3 or a 4-bedroom home. It just is going to unlock that inventory so that people can move around. And that's the number of transactions. So every time somebody makes a move, there's a lot of people that are involved in that transaction, not just for the real estate part of it, but the fixing ups, the getting ready, the termite company, the roofer, the painter. All these people will have an opportunity to be able to have a little piece of the pie and do a little business. And by that person selling and having that equity, they're able to put more money in their pocket. And guess what? They're probably more likely to go out to eat and do some other things, go to the movies. It's good for the economy all the way around. And so I'm a big proponent of that. Now, on the buyer side, the buyers are also going to benefit, because if that were to happen and they were to cap or not even cap it, but take away the capital gains on a primary residence, and that person was now likely to make a move if they want to, the buyers are now going to have more inventory on the market as more people decide to take advantage of moving around. The buyers are now going to have more choice, and that's been a problem in the last 10 years, is the amount of inventory on the market. And that's one of the reasons why there's been a significant set of price appreciation, pretty high. It's just been going up and up and up and up for the last 15 years, really ever since 2010 or so. And now it's 2025. So we've had about 15 years of appreciation, and it's still appreciated from last year to this year, even though the interest rates have gone up. People are having more opportunities to be able to buy if this were to go into place. So they're going to have more inventory. So they have more inventory equals more choice. And when you have more inventory, now all of a sudden sellers that really need to sell, they're going to probably soften that price a little bit. So it's good for capping that price appreciation that we've been seeing. You might even see a slight reduction of that if too many homes in one area comes on the market at the same time. And so that could be good for pricing. Nothing drastic. I don't think that would equate to some big massive drop in pricing, but it would bring in more sellers, and that sellers would compete with each other. And so that tends to have an effect of softening of prices by 1%, 2%, 3% or something like that. So that's good for the market, just to slow down what we've seen, just crazy, multiple offers all over the place. It's just better for us to be able to have that more inventory, and it's good for the number of transactions for realtors like myself, that are used to doing 20 deals a month, or a year rather. I wish it was a month. 20 deals a year, and that's scaled back because the amount of inventory is down, so the number of transactions are down. So each realtor's business is just down a little bit from the number of transactions that they're accustomed to on that. And so those are the benefits to that. I don't see any downside to it. And what we're talking about is a primary residence. So you bought the home. This isn't an investment property. This is where you live. So you're either going to rent something or you're going to own something. And when you live in a place, I don't think they should have capital gains on a property that you live as your primary residence. Now, yes, you're going to make some money on that, but you're going to take that money. You have to live somewhere, so you're going to go buy another house, and the properties in those counties, they're going to be at the new tax rate, so it's going to be a higher tax rate. Everybody wins. That's what we keep saying. Is everybody is going to be a winner on something like this. And even though people and the pundits or whatever might say, oh, that's only going to benefit the rich, that's not true, because there's lots, like almost 50% of people in America own houses. I think it's a little bit under that, but I think a lot of people, every one in two own property and live in it, so they're going to be able to benefit by being able to make that move around. So those are just my takes on it. I'm sure that you might have some take as well, but just let us know what your thoughts are by responding and put a comment wherever this is posted. We'd love to hear from you.